He who conquers himself is greater than he who conquers a city. Picture the walls of a fortress crumbling, not from enemy cannons, but from neglect within. That is the state of most modern minds. The gates are wide open, the guards distracted, the command structure confused. The enemy does not need to batter down stone walls when he can slip inside disguised as routine, notification, or impulse. What you call distraction is in reality infiltration. What you treat as harmless entertainment is a siege tower rolled quietly against your defenses. Every morning you reach for your phone is the moment the enemy commander studies your walls. That endless scroll is not neutral. It is engineered to pull attention, weaken resolve, and replace your sovereign command with reflexive obedience. Algorithms are not companions. They are mercenaries who work for the highest bidder, and you pay in fragments of your will. Habits you refuse to discipline become traitors, stationed at the gate, ready to unbolt the doors in the middle of the night. You may believe you are free, but if your impulses dictate your choices, you are not the ruler, you are the ruled. Machiavelli warned that a prince without control of his advisors is soon a puppet. In the same way, a mind without control of its habits is soon governed by them. One unexamined impulse grows into a faction, and factions grow into civil war. You know this feeling, half your energy pushing toward growth, the other half sabotaging it with delay, indulgence, or fear. No fortress can stand if half its soldiers serve the invader. The cost of weakness is not abstract. Without a fortress mindset, you become vulnerable to every whisper of gossip, every new headline, every false authority that shouts the loudest. When fear rises, you bend. When flattery arrives, you yield. And once others sense that you cannot defend your inner territory, they no longer treat you as sovereign, they treat you as a vassal. Command begins with recognition. You are already under siege. The invader is not miles away, he is inside your walls. The battle is not scheduled for later. It is happening every time you hesitate, every time you surrender attention without intention. Do not delay. Rebuild your walls. Post sentries, seize your throne. Command yourself or be commanded. It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both. This is not a call to cruelty, but a recognition of sovereignty. Your mind is a throne room, and every thought that enters it is a courtier seeking influence. Some are loyal advisors, pushing you toward discipline, focus, and growth. Others are schemers, whispering distractions, envy, or fear. If you fail to notice who holds your ear, you risk being dethroned within your own mind. The sovereign who cannot control his advisors soon finds himself ruled by them, and the same principle applies to your inner world. The politics of your inner court are relentless. Positive thoughts, disciplined routines, and clear goals act like generals who reinforce your rule. Yet, unexamined impulses, jealousy, procrastination, indulgence, operate like traitors who smile in daylight but betray you at night. You must expose them with ruthless honesty. Do not excuse the thought that says, "just this once." Do not trust the voice that rationalizes delay. Weak, "I'll start tomorrow." Strong, "I start now." Weak, "This is who I am." Strong, "This is what I choose." Weak, "I can't help it." Strong, "I command it." Each shift in language is a decree that stabilizes the throne. Machiavelli wrote that a prince must choose advisors wisely, listening only to those who serve the state and silencing those who serve themselves. The mind is no different. A thought that strengthens your resolve serves your sovereignty. A thought that drains energy serves only the enemy. Imagine two voices in debate during a moment of disagreement at work. One says, "Retaliate immediately." The other says, hold silence and maintain composure. If you lash out, you grant authority to chaos. If you pause, you signal command. The decision is not small. It defines who rules the throne. The room falls quiet, not because you shouted, but because you sat taller in silence. The cost of abdication is severe. When you allow peers, media, or trends to dictate your opinions, you are no longer a ruler, but a subject. Authority leaks from you, and others sense it instantly. They no longer treat you as a sovereign mind, but as a vassal to every new fashion and headline. Abdication is not announced with ceremony, it is the slow surrender of daily command. Every time you defer to gossip, drift with distraction, or conform without judgment, you hand over your crown piece by piece until nothing remains but a hollow seat. Take command now. Audit your thoughts like courtiers. Reward the loyal, expose the traitors, and remember that neutrality is treason. Install discipline as your prime minister, vigilance as your guard, and clarity as your standard bearer. Do not abdicate the throne of your own mind. Rule it with iron composure and unshakable will. Crown yourself, or be ruled. Dawn is not a neutral moment, it is the opening volley of the day's war. The general who hesitates at first light loses momentum to his enemy. The first hour after you rise is not casual time, it is battlefield time. Treat it with the seriousness of a commander deploying troops. Coffee becomes your cavalry, swift energy striking first. Exercise is your infantry, discipline grinding forward to secure ground. Silence is your reconnaissance, scouting the field before chaos arrives. Each element is a unit, and your choice to deploy or neglect them determines whether you command the day or stumble through it as a conscript. Circadian rhythms are your supply lines. Ignore them and you march hungry into battle, unarmed and exposed. Respect them and you control the flow of energy like a strategist rationing provisions for a campaign. Wake at a consistent time and you fortify your rhythm. Drift in and out without order and you create confusion among your ranks. The body favors order, the mind respects structure. Strike early and your first victory is momentum. Delay and the enemy of distraction sets fire to your stores before you leave the gates. Modern leaders understand this principle. Many executives block the early hours for strategy and reflection before opening the gates to meetings and messages. Military commanders rise before their units to establish control of the field. Elite athletes protect morning rituals as if they were sacred drills, aligning body and mind before competition. These individuals know what Machiavelli observed centuries ago. Fortune favors those who act with force and timing rather than hesitation and disorder. Imagine arriving at work and facing a colleague who questions your plan. You could react with irritation, signaling weakness, or you could respond with calm authority sharpened by a disciplined morning. A strong morning shields you against pettiness. You do not need to raise your voice. Your preparation speaks for you. The room bends toward order, not because you dominated others, but because you first dominated yourself. Weak. I'll see how I feel when I wake. Strong, I rise, I command, I act. Weak, mornings drain me. Strong, mornings are mine. Language defines posture. Posture defines power. Command your dawn. Post your cavalry. Secure your supply lines. Do not let the first hour slip to hesitation or distraction. You are either the general at sunrise or the soldier stumbling under another's command. Win the morning, win the war. Stillness is not weakness. It is the sharpest blade you can carry into battle. Invisible to the eye, yet devastating in effect. In every confrontation, the first to speak reveals position, reveals supply lines, reveals weakness. The one who waits in silence forces the enemy to guess, to doubt, to show their hand. In the politics of power, silence is counterintelligence. You deny your opponent access to your mind. You starve them of data. You leave them swinging in the dark while you remain composed on the throne. Think of how easily people surrender information when tension rises. A careless phrase in a meeting, an emotional outburst in an argument, a poorly timed confession under pressure. All of it gives away leverage. By refusing to rush, you weaponize stillness. Your calm becomes the fortress wall, and their restlessness becomes the battering ram that breaks against it. Weak. I must defend myself right now. Strong. I reveal nothing until I choose. Weak. I need to explain. Strong. I command with presence. These are not mere linguistic swaps. They are shifts in posture, in sovereignty. Training this reflex is not theory, it is discipline. You build stillness the way a swordsman sharpens steel. Meditation is your drill ground, teaching the nervous system to endure quiet without panic. Breath control is your shield wall, steadying the ranks when chaos presses forward. Silence drills in conversation are your sparring sessions, resisting the impulse to fill every pause, allowing the weight of your presence to settle. Each of these practices strengthens your command center. Without training, you will flinch. With training, you will dictate the tempo of every exchange. The stakes are high because the reaction is surrender. The one who reacts loses position, burns energy, and gives away control. The one who pauses holds the high ground. Consider a workplace disagreement. The colleague raises their voice, demanding you justify a decision. If you rush to explain, you appear cornered. If you meet their gaze and let a deliberate silence stretch, the dynamic shifts. They stumble, realizing you are not playing defense. You did not enter their frame. You forced them into yours. The silence becomes louder than words, and authority shifts instantly to you. Modern life rewards noise, but respects silence. Executives who dominate meetings do not speak the most. They speak last after observing every angle. Negotiators often wait out opponents, letting impatience drive mistakes. Athletes control tempo by slowing a match when pressure mounts. Across every field, those who dictate rhythm dictate outcomes. Stillness is not absence of action, it is action at its highest precision. You must learn to pause when every nerve screams to move. You must breathe when the crowd demands noise. You must hold your posture when others collapse into reaction. This is not passivity, it is the silent blade, unsheathed only at the moment of your choosing, cutting deeper than frantic words ever could. Carry silence as a weapon. Drill it daily. In conflict, let others reveal their weakness first. When you move, move with intention. When you strike, strike only once, and let the silence that follows announce your victory. Stillness is strength sharpened to a blade. A fortress is not strengthened by adding endless walls. It is fortified by removing the weak ones before the enemy exploits them. Ruthless elimination is not cruelty, it is strategy. Machiavelli warned that a wise prince must purge traitors early, before they gather momentum. In your life, the traitors are not only people but habits and distractions that erode your sovereignty from within. To tolerate them is to leave cracks in the stone. To remove them is to consolidate power. Pruning the court begins with clear judgment. Every ruler in history who survived understood the need to separate loyal advisors from parasites. Your inner circle is no different. Keep those who sharpen you, challenge you, and stand firm under pressure. Cut away those who drain energy with complaint, who invite gossip into your walls, who consistently choose comfort over principle. This is not about malice, it is about maintaining the integrity of your fortress. Weak. They've always been around strong. They weaken the defense, so they must go. Modern life requires the same vigilance toward distractions. Your phone is not a neutral tool. It is a siege engine disguised as entertainment. News cycles, endless notifications, algorithm-driven feeds, each is designed to breach your defenses, to scatter your attention, to pull troops away from the true battle. A digital declutter is not luxury, it is a strategic withdrawal from enemy terrain. A fast from news is not ignorance, it is the choice to guard your gates and decide when and how information enters. The more you allow unchecked inputs, the more you exhaust your garrison before the real fight even begins. The outcome of elimination is not emptiness, but strength. A lean fortress is faster to defend. A disciplined court is easier to command. A trimmed daily routine cuts through hesitation and grants you response time others cannot match. Imagine a colleague bringing chaos into a meeting, attempting to derail the agenda. If you have already purged your habits of distraction, your mind does not scramble. You cut their noise short with calm, precise words and return the room to order. Elimination outside prepares you for composure inside. Do not confuse indulgence with mercy. Mercy to weakness becomes cruelty to yourself. Guard the throne by removing what cannot be trusted, whether a toxic tie, a wasteful habit, or a constant distraction. Each cut is an act of loyalty to your own command. Cut the weak walls, and the fortress stands unshaken. It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both. Authority is never projected by accident. It is crafted, displayed, and defended through symbols. The helm of the sovereign is not made of iron. It is made of composure, speech, and posture. Without this mask of command, even strong decisions can be ignored. With it, even silence carries weight. The optics of power begin with the body. Stand as if you are immovable. Shoulders back, gaze steady, gestures deliberate. This is armor. Your voice is the weapon that follows. A calm, resonant tone cuts sharper than frantic speed. When your words arrive measured and unshaken, they strike with precision. Authority is not in volume, but in control. Weak. I think. Strong. This is the decision. Weak. Maybe we could. Strong. Here's what we will do. Language and body form the shield wall that no arrow of doubt can pierce. History provides clear proof. Roman generals were not loved for their charm. They were obeyed because their presence alone demanded loyalty. Cloaks, armor, and posture were not vanity. They were deliberate optics that told the legion, "Follow me, and we will not break." In modern times, the same principle applies. Executives who command a boardroom do not chatter to fill silence. They occupy space with posture, speak last, and use the weight of presence to control the tempo. Political leaders know the camera is not neutral. Appearance is always part of authority. Even the smallest detail, a tailored suit, a steady gaze, a measured pause, signals power to the audience before a single argument is made. The mask of command is also your shield in chaos. When pressure mounts, when others lose composure, your mask says one thing: I cannot be rattled. Picture a meeting where tempers flare and accusations fly. You do not raise your voice. You do not mirror their agitation. You stay still, composed, speaking with deliberate calm. The room recalibrates to your tempo. Those who shouted look unstable. Those who listened look to you. The mask is not deception. It is discipline, protecting your sovereignty from being pulled into disorder. You cannot choose how storms arrive, but you can choose how you appear when they hit. Put on the helm of the sovereign every day. Guard your posture, command your voice, control your optics. Even in private, practice until it becomes second nature. The world will test you, and in those tests, your mask will either fracture or hold. Build it strong now. Wear the helm, and none will doubt the throne. Inside every fortress, the greatest danger is not always the enemy outside, but the traitor within. Authority collapses faster when sabotage rises from your own ranks. Fear that whispers you are not ready, procrastination that delays your strike, envy that poisons judgment. These are usurpers plotting to seize the throne. They do not march with banners. They creep in silence, waiting for you to lower your guard. To maintain sovereignty, you must appoint an inner assassin, a disciplined force that eliminates self-betrayal before it gains power. Identifying the traitor is the first step. Fear presents itself as caution, urging delay until conditions are perfect. Procrastination disguises itself as planning, piling tasks into tomorrow's ledger. Envy masquerades as ambition, but its true aim is to drag you down by comparing your throne to another's. You must strip these impulses of their disguises. Weak: I need more time. Strong: I act now. Weak: others are ahead. Strong: I build my position. Weak: I'll start after I feel ready. Strong: I decide readiness by action. These reframes are not cosmetic. They are execution. Once the usurper is exposed, you deliver the kill shot through micro-habits. A 2-minute rule to start tasks immediately slays procrastination. A daily log of progress, not comparison, starves envy of fuel. A controlled breath or short silence before acting cuts fear down before it multiplies. These habits are your daggers, small, sharp, precise. Do not wait for grand changes. An assassin does not announce his strike. He eliminates the target quickly, quietly, and completely. History confirms the principle. Cesare Borgia, facing chaos in Romagna, deployed Ramiro de Orco with ruthless authority to crush disorder and enforce unity. It was brutal, but necessary to establish stability. Later, when de Orco's severity threatened Borgia's reputation, he removed him in a calculated act to secure loyalty from the people. The lesson is clear: decisive elimination of threats preserves sovereignty. If you tolerate disloyalty, whether in your court or in your mind, you invite collapse. Consider a moment of disagreement at work. A peer challenges your decision with sharp words, hoping to undermine you. If fear rules, you hesitate and the room senses weakness. If envy rules, you react defensively and appear insecure. But if your inner assassin is trained, you respond with calm precision, acknowledging their point, then restating your direction firmly. The challenge is neutralized, not through aggression, but through discipline and composure. The usurper within was silenced before it could betray you. You cannot fully prevent self-sabotage from appearing, but you can refuse it the chance to grow. Appoint your inner assassin, give him orders daily, task him with rooting out fear, cutting down delay, and silencing envy. Rule requires loyalty, and loyalty begins within. Kill the traitor inside, and no enemy outside can take your throne. A predator survives or starves based on supply lines. The wolf that hunts wisely grows strong. The one that feeds on scraps grows weak and desperate. Your fortress mindset operates by the same law. What you consume, information, food, and people, either fuels your sovereignty or sabotages it from within. Every input is a caravan crossing into your territory. If you do not guard the gates, you end up nourishing your enemy instead of your command. The first supply line is information. Your mind is not neutral toward what it consumes. Propaganda disguised as news, gossip disguised as truth, outrage disguised as concern. These are poisoned rations. Eat enough of them, and your judgment rots. Principle-based information, on the other hand, builds clarity and foresight. Weak: I follow whatever shows up. Strong: I choose the sources that sharpen me. Weak: I scroll without thought. Strong: I curate with discipline. Your info diet is not casual. It is strategic provisioning. What enters the throne room either empowers your decisions or leaves you exposed to manipulation. Guard it as you would a supply route under siege. The second supply line is people. Allies act as provisions. A mentor who shares wisdom, a friend who demands higher standards, a partner who stabilizes you in a storm. Each is a caravan carrying strength into your stronghold. But not all who arrive at your gates serve your interests. Some drain morale, exhaust resources, or deliver intelligence to outsiders. Machiavelli advised rulers to distinguish between loyal advisors and self-serving flatterers. Apply the same principle. Do not tolerate companions who consume your energy without returning value. Choose your inner circle with the precision of a commander rationing supplies for war. The third supply line is modern and invisible. The feeds you scroll. Social platforms are battlefields disguised as marketplaces. Every post is a voice competing for your attention, shaping your perception and adjusting your priorities. If you let the algorithm decide your diet, you hand over your supply lines to a foreign army. Curate your feeds with intention. Follow those who sharpen your strategy. Cut those who push you into envy, outrage, or distraction. A soldier who eats rotten grain weakens the entire battalion. A mind fed with poison collapses before the fight begins. Consider a colleague who ridicules your disciplined approach, urging you to relax, indulge, or stay distracted. If you react defensively, you prove their point. If you calmly state, "I choose my inputs because I guard my energy," the dynamic shifts. You show that your provisions are strategic, not accidental. Their mockery loses force when met with composure. The wolf is fed, the fortress supplied, and your sovereignty remains intact. Command yourself as predator and ruler. Protect your supply lines. Curate what you consume. Guard who you allow inside. Build strength from deliberate inputs and cut off poisoned caravans without hesitation. Feed the wolf that guards the throne. Every move you make on the board of life broadcasts power or weakness. Like chess, this game is not won by frantic motion, but by deliberate positioning. The impatient player lunges for quick gains and exposes the king. The disciplined player builds layer by layer, creating influence across the board long before a decisive strike. Machiavelli understood this truth when analyzing the politics of city-states. Fortune rewards those who prepare positions rather than chase tactics. The first principle is to think in positions, not moves. Do not focus only on today's opportunity. Build frameworks that create lasting leverage. A job offer, a project, or a connection is not simply one square advanced. Ask yourself, does this strengthen the overall position, or does it leave the throne vulnerable? A strong position means you can absorb pressure without breaking. A weak one leaves you scrambling. Weak, I need this now. Strong, I build for control later. Weak, this step looks good in isolation. Strong, this step strengthens the board. Positional thinking shifts you from pawn reactions to sovereign command. The second principle is sacrifice to advance. In chess, you give up a piece to gain momentum. In life, you give up comfort to gain leverage. Sacrifice, short-term indulgence for long-term authority. Sacrifice, the easy friendship that weakens your focus for the solitude that hardens your will. Sacrifice, temporary recognition for the slow accumulation of skill. Many fear sacrifice because it feels like loss, but a grandmaster knows that loss is the price of victory when it is calculated. The difference between reckless loss and strategic sacrifice is vision. Do not throw away pieces randomly. Trade them for control of the board. The third principle is illustrated in history. Machiavelli observed the diplomacy of Venice, a republic that survived, surrounded by powerful states. Venice rarely rushed into reckless battles. Instead, it positioned itself with alliances, trade, and naval control, turning the chessboard into a long-term advantage. When stronger armies clashed, Venice remained intact because it thought in positions rather than impulses. This lesson holds today. Stability comes not from constant motion, but from careful placement of influence. Picture a disagreement in a meeting. A colleague insists on immediate action. You remain calm and say, "Rushing weakens our position. We build leverage first." In that moment, you shift from reacting to dictating tempo. The board belongs to you because you think several moves ahead while others scramble for one. See life as a chessboard. Build positions. Sacrifice with vision. Move with intention. Let every decision carry the weight of strategy, not the panic of impulse. Play the board, not the move. Iron will is not inherited. It is forged like steel under fire. Discipline is not a gift of nature, but the result of ritual hammered into place until it becomes automatic. You do not rise to the level of your ambition. You fall to the level of your training. To project unshakable authority, you must create daily drills that harden your body and mind into an inner legion that never deserts you. The first set of drills are physical anchors. Cold showers that shock the system teach you to face discomfort without hesitation. Workouts that demand sweat and strain condition you to push past resistance. Fasting teaches mastery over appetite, proving you are sovereign even over hunger. Each of these is not just an act of health, it is a formation of soldiers drilled to obey under pressure. The body is the front line of the fortress. When it is conditioned, the mind finds no excuse to retreat. Weak. I don't feel like it. Strong. I do it because I command it. The second set of drills are psychological anchors. Words are banners, and banners matter in battle. When armies marched, they carried standards into the field to remind them who they served and why they fought. Your affirmations are those banners, not empty slogans, but sharp declarations repeated until they embed authority in your core. Say them with clarity. Say them with presence. Anchor them to action. For example, before a difficult conversation, repeat, "I remain unshaken." Before stepping into the challenge, declare, "I command myself first." These banners remind the legion inside you that no matter the chaos outside, the throne remains occupied. The third set of drills are modeled by modern warriors. Navy SEALs train resilience, not only in combat, but in cold, hunger, and exhaustion. Elite athletes rehearse discipline daily, turning repetition into ritual until pressure no longer shakes performance. Their secret is not superhuman talent, but systems that harden will into reflex. When the storm comes, they do not ask whether they are ready. Their rituals have already answered. Picture a moment where a colleague tries to rattle you with doubt, pressing for a reaction. If you lack ritual, you scramble for composure. If your will is forged, you breathe once, stand firm, and respond calmly. The difference is not personality, but preparation. Ritual makes resilience automatic. Do not wait for a crisis to test you. Forge now. Anchor discipline in body and mind. Train your legion until command is reflex, not effort. Ritual will build the throne. To become untouchable, you must build a fortress on 3 levels: psychological, social, and strategic, until the attack loses its leverage. The impregnable citadel is not a fantasy, It is the result of deliberate construction. You assemble its walls from your reputation, its moat from your network, and its inner keep from disciplined self-command. Without these, a single rumor or sudden pressure can collapse everything you built. With them, you stand like stone against waves. Your reputation is the outer wall. Every interaction, every commitment kept, every boundary held becomes another brick. Reliability is not a slogan, it is armor. When you consistently deliver on what you promise, you project predictability, which creates trust, and trust attracts allies, while discouraging opportunists. Weak, I'll try to be on time. Strong, I am always on time. Weak, I might deliver. Strong, I deliver. This steadiness is more powerful than charisma. A fortress does not sway with the wind. It stands, and others organize around it. Guard your reputation with the same vigilance you guard your private thoughts. Your network is the moat. Allies, patrons, and systems form the perimeter that absorbs pressure before it reaches you. In history, rulers who survived invasion built coalitions and supply routes, not just walls. In life, you do the same by cultivating authentic relationships with people who value integrity and competence. A single well-placed mentor can neutralize misinformation about you. A loyal colleague can speak on your behalf when you are absent. These are not decorative friendships, they are defensive structures. Choose them deliberately. Water your moat regularly with reciprocity and reliability. Modern life moves at the speed of information, and a single attack can spread faster than you can respond. Without these defenses, one rumor can pierce your authority and unravel years of work. Consider a workplace scenario where someone publicly questions your capability. If you have built a wall of consistent excellence and a moat of allies who know your track record, the accusation falls flat. If you have neglected these defenses, you scramble alone. The difference is not luck, but preparation. Finally, the inner keep is your disciplined self-command. If your mind fractures under stress, outer walls mean little. You must keep rituals, posture, and presence so solid that even under attack you remain calm. This calm is not cosmetic. It signals to everyone watching that the fortress holds. Attackers grow uncertain. Doubters hesitate. Supporters rally. The citadel stands because the sovereign stands inside it, unbroken. Build deliberately. Fortify reputation as a wall. Cultivate network as moat. Strengthen self-command as keep. Do not wait for a crisis to teach you what should have been built in peacetime. Build the citadel before the siege begins. In the war-torn hall of your mind, the banners are torn, the floor is cracked, and the throne stands empty. Yet through the smoke of distraction, betrayal, and hesitation, you now walk with deliberate steps. Each lesson you have drilled, each ritual you have forged, each mask you have worn brings you here. You are no longer the pawn scrambling across the board. You are the sovereign returning to reclaim command. This is not survival. This is coronation. The battle montage plays behind you as you advance. Dawn was once a fog of fatigue and chaos, but you seized it as a battlefield. You deployed cavalry in the form of caffeine and clarity, infantry in the form of sweat and routine, scouts in the form of silence and reflection. You won the first hour, and the day bent to your command. When storms came, you drew the silent blade. Stillness was your weapon. You revealed nothing, struck only when ready, and let the noise of others destroy itself against your composure. When betrayal arose from within, you released the inner assassin. Fear, envy, and delay were executed before they could seize the throne. You fed the wolf wisely, consuming knowledge and counsel that fueled strength rather than poison. Each move was deliberate. like a grandmaster shifting pieces across the chessboard, sacrificing comfort for position until leverage was secure. Ritual hammered your will into iron. Reputation rose into a wall. Allies gathered into a moat. You have combined all, and now the fortress stands complete. The ultimate reframe is clear. You are not merely defending against manipulation. You are dictating the frame of reality. Weak minds bend under the winds of gossip, but your reputation shields you. Crowds surrender to outrage cycles, but your curated inputs sharpen strategy. Others panic at rumors, but your allies speak truth into the storm. What once felt like survival has become orchestration. You no longer spend the day dodging arrows, you command the tempo of the battle itself. Consider the psychological seal that closes this transformation. This is the final form, a mind that cannot be stormed. In an argument, you do not flinch. In uncertainty, you do not break rhythm. When questioned, you answer with brevity and conviction. I will continue after this priority is secured. The room steadies because your presence steadies it. Even when wrong, you correct with dignity, never surrendering the throne of composure. That is what makes you untouchable. You are not perfect, but you are sovereign. The cost of vulnerability is too high to ignore. Without this fortress mindset, one whisper can dismantle years of labor. One impulsive reaction can fracture alliances. One moment of weakness can embolden enemies. History is full of leaders who fell not to sieges, but to cracks inside their own walls. Do not repeat their mistakes. Build with intent, defend with vigilance, rule with calm. You arrive now at the throne in the war-torn hall. You do not rush. You sit with full weight, placing the crown upon your head. The hall is scarred, but it is yours. The banners are tattered, but they rise again under your command. The fortress is whole, not because enemies disappeared, but because you rebuilt from within. The coronation is not given by others, it is claimed by you. Raise the banner and rule yourself first. A fortress mindset is not built on theory, it is forged in ritual. You now stand at the end of the campaign, surrounded by the ruins of old habits, the whispers of conquered fears, and the silence of distractions cut down. 10 tactics have been assembled into a single system: the throne of the mind, the battlefield of dawn, the silent blade, the siege within, the helm of command, the inner assassin, the feeding of the wolf, the chessboard of life, the forging of the legion, and the impregnable citadel. Together they form a structure no rumor, no manipulator, no internal betrayal can easily breach. The lessons converge into one truth: to command the world outside, you must first command the world within. But a fortress is only as strong as its daily drills. This is the moment for immediate action. Within the next 24 hours, you must choose one ritual that will serve as your oath to sovereignty. Perhaps it is the morning discipline that secures the first hour like a battlefield victory. Perhaps it is the silence drill that sharpens stillness into a weapon. Perhaps it is the mask of command, where posture and tone become your helm of authority. Do not delay. Authority is not claimed with wishes, but with acts. Weak: I'll try tomorrow. Strong: I begin now. Weak: I hope this sticks. Strong: I choose to repeat until it becomes who I am. Every empire that endured was built on repetition, not bursts of enthusiasm. Once the ritual is chosen, seal it with commitment. Write it, declare it, or carry it silently like a crest on your chest. What matters is that the oath becomes real. In moments of hesitation, remember that you are not serving comfort, you are serving command. Each repetition is a brick in your wall, a soldier added to your legion, a banner raised higher on your fortress. Discipline repeatedly becomes identity, and identity projected becomes unshakable authority. Now visualize the march outward. The gates of your fortress open, and you walk into the world not as a pawn scrambling for space, but as a sovereign bearing your standard. The marketplace of noise, distraction, and manipulation no longer pulls you off balance. Gossip loses its sting. Pressure loses its grip. Those who once sought to rattle you see only composure. You are not hidden in the fortress. You are the fortress, mobile and unyielding, carrying with you walls, moat, and throne wherever you stand. The call is simple and immediate. Choose your ritual, take the oath, march with your banner. Authority begins inside, but it must be carried into the field. Command yourself today, and the world tomorrow bends accordingly. Command the self. Command the world.